it's Miss Mercado
and Miss Wallace,
and we're here again with another Fractured Fairy Tale. What story are we learning about today?
We are talking today about the Three Little Pigs, but wait till you hear this version. It's not told by a narrator. In fact, it's told by someone very interesting.
And this story is called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs.
Are you saying the original wasn't the true story?
I don't know. Now I'm confused. Which one is the true story?
Well, whose point of view is this story told from?
This story's point of view is told from the wolf.
Can you believe it? What does he think is the true story?
I don't know if I believe him, but we're going to find out together. Now, when we say point of view, that means the view from which the story is told.
So, a lot of times stories can be told from the point of view of a narrator
who's outside of the story, looking down on what's happening.
Or it can be told from the point of view of one of the characters
who's inside the story and has a first-hand account of what's happening in the story. So, a character in the story, that's called first-person point of view.
You're going to hear a lot of words like I and me and
we,
yes,
because it's happening to that character in the story. Now, on the other hand, we have third-person point of view, which is told from the point of view of a narrator.
You might hear a lot of words like they did this or
he did that, because the narrator is outside and can tell you about all the characters. Whereas in first person, we're just hearing from that one character's point of view. Now, does the story change if it's told from a different point of view?
I definitely think so. The three pigs will have a very different point of view of what happened compared to the wolf.
And you're going to see that when we read that story. But first, let's get a refresher of what happened in the original version of the Three Little Pigs. So first of all, it was told from a narrator's point of view. And the narrator told us about the first little pig that built his house of wood, and the second little pig
that built his house out of straw, and the third little pig who built his house from bricks.
And then we had the big bad wolf who came and huffed and puffed and blew those houses down. Well, except for the brick one. So, in the true story of the Three Little Pigs, the wolf is going to give us his side of the story.
And you'll notice it's pretty different from the original tale that we've all known and loved.
So let's get started. So I'm going to read the true story of the Three Little Pigs. And I want you to listen for words like I, me, because this is told in first person from the wolf's point of view. Here we go. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs. Or at least they think they do. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. Do you hear that? My? Because the wolf is telling us the story now. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheeps and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home with the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, but that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on, and I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole straw house fell down, and right in the middle of a pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang the bell in the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner. Again. And think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little bit better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house, but no answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf, and don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear sweet granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake, but when I felt a cold coming on, I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed once again, and the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner, and they figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? Now, how about that twist on a classic story?
Wow, I did not see that coming.
The wolf was framed, don't you think?
I don't know if I believe him. Is this the real true story?
I mean, he was making a birthday cake for his granny, right? He just sneezed. He didn't huff and puff on purpose.
What do you think, guys?
What do you think?
So, back to the original tale. Is there a way to keep track of what was the same and what was different?
Absolutely. We can use a Venn diagram. So here's our Venn diagram. Everything that was unique to the original version of the 3 Little Pigs will go right here. Everything that was unique to the true story of the 3 Little Pigs will go here. And everything that was similar or the same between them will go here in the middle.
So the first thing I'm thinking I would put on my Venn diagram is that in the original 3 Little Pigs story, we hear it from the point of view of a narrator, someone on the outside who's telling us what's happening. But in the true story of the 3 Little Pigs, we hear it from the point of view of the wolf himself.
Exactly. And it may be something that's similar, obviously, as we still have 3 little pigs and a wolf. The characters are the same.
So that would go in the middle.
After you fill out that Venn diagram, make sure you check out the choice board.
We have provided 9 different activities for you to do based off of this book.
Maybe you want to build a stronger house for one of the 3 pigs.
Ooh, I love STEM.
Or you could build a windmill to help give that wolf's big blow a purpose.
Or maybe you want to rewrite this story from the perspective of one of the 3 pigs.
Ooh, that would be an interesting choice.
Whatever you do, we want to hear about it. Complete something. Share it with us.
We can't wait to see what you come up with.
See you next time.